All right, I'm just going to do a quick rundown of some Oscar things, mostly looking at the actor categories. Um, so, big takeaway is just like 2020 to 2021, I assumed that we would spread the wealth a little bit with just so many smaller movies just catching the eye of people. I thought that nominations would be spread out a little bit more. And it seems like a couple movies, again, have sort of taken over the awards. So The Power of Dog is nominated for 4 acting categories, which is great. It's great for all of the actors, but that's a fifth of all of the categories. The whole. So Dune has 10 nominations, Power of the Dog 12, Dune is 10, West Side Story and Belfast have 7. A lot of movies have, 3, 4, 5 in there as well. And then just a lot of kind of smaller movies that people really liked just got nothing, right? Pig got nothing. House of Gucci only got costumes and hair. Nothing for The Green Knight. No love for Dev Patel or anybody else in that movie. Alicia Vikander was great in the movie. Nothing. The production design, the scenic design, weird, right? Last Duel, Come On, Come On. Just a lot of these. Annette was a really bizarre movie, but you would have at least thought there'd be some buzz by this point for Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard. Nothing. So just even the Sparks brothers, who wrote the entire score of the movie, the musicals didn't do that well, even though they might win for Best Leading Actor for Tick, Tick, Boom. And West Side Story obviously is doing really well, but In the Heights didn't get anything. So just these movies that people loved not getting Oscar noms. Not the first time in history this happened, but you would think by 2022 more things would be happening. The big snubs for me in the acting categories before I get in them. Why aren't we talking about Jody Comer at all this year? She was amazing in Free Guy, but then in The Last Duel, which I know not a lot of people saw, and it's kind of I've read a lot of both sides of whether or not to root for this movie or against it for Ridley Scott's The Last Duel. But Jodie Comer was so good. I just can't believe she's nowhere in this award season. She might have been my favorite performance of the year in The Last Duel. She just totally stabbed me. Like, she was so good. And then Ruth Negga in Passing just totally looked over. Rita Moreno, another big one. And then Nicolas Cage and Pick. Like, these are just, obviously everybody can't get nominated, but Mike Feist for West Side Story, David Alvarez, West Side Story, Dev Patel. I'm not saying they all should have been nominated, Joaquin Phoenix, but just totally crazy to see them just not even really being considered at all. So let me just break down a couple of the categories really quick. Best Picture, love seeing Drive My Car. A little surprised to see Don't Look Up and Nightmare Alley. Just they were a little polarizing for people, and I don't think they were. Anyway, I'm surprised to see them in there. Again, for some of the other movies that I mentioned, I'm surprised that they didn't get the love. Coda seems to be the little film that could this year, which is great. By little film, I mean, it's been on streaming for so long. I just didn't think that it would carry into the season. Whereas like House of Gucci, I see a new ad for it for, the past 3 months. I've been seeing new ads every day. So kudos to them. Kudos to Mr. Hamaguchi for getting his nomination for Drive My Car. Spielberg, Jane Campion, Kenneth Branagh, Paul Thomas Anderson. I know we like new voices in major categories, especially directing, but those are monster names. Spielberg, Branagh, Anderson, Campion, and then Hamaguchi, who's an amazing filmmaker, just hasn't broken through into the English language market that well. I mean, that's awesome. You just, I maybe one other younger voice in there would have been cool if there was like a 6th in the category, but I don't know. I guess it's Jane Campion to lose here, but I love West Side Story this year. I loved it a lot. I don't know. Let's get into the actors. For actress, Rachel Ziegler for West Side Story is a little bit of a surprise that she's not in there. Again, Marion Cotillard. There were other performances this year that I thought were really good and worthy, but Jessica Chastain, Olivia Colman, Penelope Cruz, Nicole Kidman, Kristen Stewart for Spencer. Interesting list. I think it's Jessica Chastain's to lose. I haven't actually seen The Eyes of Tammy Faye. The reviews are good. She's winning other awards for it. Olivia winning her 2nd, Nicole Kidman winning her 2nd, Penelope Cruz has one. We'll see how the next month unfolds. And maybe even Kristen Stewart, maybe she'll rise above, but I think it's Jessica Chastain's to lose. Best Actor, Nicolas Cage fans, everybody who saw Pig. Again, a small movie that's been on streaming. It would have been nice just to get this one nomination. And, Javier Bardem seems to be the surprise in this category, even though he was amazing in being the Ricardos. I think he was really stellar. We talked about it on our show. But no Nicolas Cage. Javier Bardem, Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, Will Smith, Denzel Washington. A lot of people are rooting for Will Smith. Denzel has two, but wouldn't be surprised. Benedict Cumberbatch could easily get this here. I do think Andrew Garfield's the front runner, but things could change. It could easily swing to Benedict or Will Smith. Keep your eye on it and see what people are saying. Check out the other awards. Supporting actress, Ruth Negga and Jody Comer not being in here feels a little crazy to me, even though it probably is still Ariana DeBose's to lose. I said Alicia Vikander before for The Green Knight. There were other really good performances. The mom in Coda didn't get nominated. So the supporting categories have been getting really competitive the past couple years, usually with category fraud, although I think all of these are pretty straight up. I think these are all, for the male and female categories, are true supporting performances this year, which makes me happy, but there's going to be snubs. So Jessie Buckley, Ariana DeBose, Judi Dench, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog. Great performance, really, really stood out. And then Ingenue Ellis, great performance that really stood out. I think it's Ariana DeBose's to lose. And then supporting actor, if you put Joaquin in this category, it's a little surprise. Jared Leto in this category, it's a little bit of a surprise. Nobody loved The Green Knight, but sorry. Nobody loved The Green Knight, but Joel Edgerton, surprised. Of course, Ben Affleck was apparently submitting for The Last Duel in this category, and for the Tenderborn lead actor, Ben Affleck snubbed. I still think the frontrunners are in here, which keeps this pretty good. It's a pretty wide category, of course. It's the Oscars. Kyron Hines, Belfast. Troy Kutzer for Coda is the first deaf or hard of hearing person nominated. Although he's deaf, he's nominated. It's his first. That's a first. So with Paul Raci last year for Sound of Metal, and now Troy Kutzer this year. Shout out to our ASL actors. Jesse Plemons' Power of the Dog is a little bit of a surprise. Not category fraud because he disappears from this movie. This is Benedict's movie. So I believe this was good. It's a good choice, and I'm happy for him, even though there are other people that could have easily found their way in this category that did not get in. Bradley Cooper. I also should have mentioned Alana Haim for lead actress, but Bradley Cooper in this category, very small performance, but everybody who's seen this movie has been talking about how great it was. How was it not a cartoon? How did Bradley Cooper pull that off? Kind of a bummer that he didn't get this supporting actor nom, but he has a lot of money. I'm not too worried about him. Really happy about this list here. J.K. Simmons being the Ricardos is also another surprise for me. He's always great. This is just not the type of role that usually gets these nominations for somebody that's already won before, especially. If he was J.K. Simmons that had never been nominated, I could see that, but I guess the past isn't dictating the future as much anymore. But Cody Smith-McPhee is the front runner on this, and I don't see him losing. I think it's his. Not too many other takeaways. Score, Encanto, Dune, Don't Look Up, Power of the Dog, and then Parallel Mothers, no surprise. The screenplay ones are going to be interesting. Adapted screenplay, Power of the Dog, Lost Daughter, Dune, Drive My Car, Coda. Looks like it's the Power of the Dogs to lose. Maybe Drive My Car could kind of get in there. Really, really hard to know about the adapted screenplay list. Also, other movies that could have been in there, oh well. Oscars it's a nasty business, I guess. And then original screenplay, Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World. The Worst Person in the World here is also with Drive My Car. That's going to be a competitive, not in the English language film category. But I think a lot of people are going to be rooting for Belfast versus Licorice Pizza, just Kenneth Branagh versus Paul Thomas Anderson. It looks like one of them is going to win their first Oscar, and one of them is going to still be a legend without an Oscar. Important to note that Kenneth Branagh has now been nominated in 7 different categories in his life: producer, director, lead actor, supporting actor, short, screenplay, and other screenplay, adapted and original screenplays. 7 different categories for Kenneth Branagh. That is now a record. He beats Walt Disney and George Clooney, who had 6. Walt Disney's categories don't even exist anymore. But Paul Thomas Anderson's PTA. I think it's going to go to Branagh. But again, The Worst Person in the World's, we'll see what happens after a month of everybody seeing these movies and shouting about it on Twitter. We'll see if anything changes. I'm going to stop it there. Sorry if I missed anything. Tell me what you think. Oscar season. It's a weird season again, but I think there's enough big names to get it some good attention. So I hope people tune in.